All right, so day two, I started out actually down here, and I wanted to scout this little bog, area I seen on the map. I seen this funnel here that was of interest to me, and I wanted to take a look and see, these little trees, and obviously all the runs that were in it. I wanted to take a look and see if there was any bedding out here. I wanted to see what the um, topography looked like and the all the plant life and whatnot. So started there. Actually found some really good bedding. Actually, right where I expected to see it, in this kind of funnel. Saw some good bedding there. I think I seen some bedding over here as well. But then I saw some really good beds throughout these little trees. Almost in every one of these trees, there were beds, and some of them had rubs in them and whatnot. Um, it was difficult to tell if for sure it was a bed, but this was very, very thick and very springy, stiff brush. And so anything that was matted down as much as some of that spots were had to have been used quite a bit and laid down in quite a bit for it to actually truly be stuck in a matted down position. And it wouldn't just be from snow. It was heavily used. So scouted that. Then I actually came back up to where I ended the day before, in hopes to cross this creek over here and get into that area I wanted to get into. So this again was bedding I found yesterday really good. Managed to make it across, but got soaked in the process. Water went well over my hip waders and down into my boots. Got soaked. Made it across. Ended up scouting and found some really good beds. I mean, beds throughout everywhere. Some definite buck bedding with rubs in them that were really well defined and good. But again, very, very wet through here, and every step I took, I wasn't sure if I was going to fall through. So it made it a little nerve-wracking, just because I was out here deep enough. I was already wet as it was with my feet and whatnot. So I didn't make it to the area I wanted to. I wanted to come out here and I wanted to check like this here. And then this nice run coming in. I suspect there was some bedding in here, maybe even bedding up in this area. But I backed out because I found so many beds already in this area that I really didn't see a need to come all the way through here unless I come out and realize I'm not getting any good mature bucks, in this whole bedding area here or this bedding area here. So if that's the case, then I'd have to find some different access, maybe down through here and come in through the cattails into this, because this is all bedding right now as it is, and I wouldn't want to blow all that out just to get that down here. So I'd have to figure out something new to come out and get into that area. But it was really good. You'll see on the videos I saw the beds I found, and so stick with me and leave any comments you have or questions you have or advice you got.
All right, we're day two scouting this particular piece of state land. Yesterday wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I found one area that had a ton of beds in it. A couple were definitely buck beds, had rubs right within the bed. But there had to be, I don't know, 6, 7 different beds for sure that were beds. A lot of them were just single beds, which can be buck bedding. So what we're doing, the reason that I'm scouting for these the beds, in particular the buck beds, is years past have hunted mostly funnels, especially during the rut. I'd hunt destination spots, whether they be what I would feel is like a primary scrape, or just areas where, like staging areas where I think that they're potentially getting up together before they enter a field or go to eat at night and things like that. So I've had success as far as getting on deer and seeing deer, but the big mature bucks have eluded me so far as seeing them during daylight hours. So my brother and I are changing our tactics up this year, and mid-season last season I started hearing about Dan and Fault and the beast style tactics, and then that led into watching the Hunting Public, which is another YouTube channel that they hunt public land for the most part. And so I started mid-season kind of utilizing some of the tactics, but not really knowing exactly where they bed. So after the season, my brother and I decided that we're really going to give this a go next year and do the B style, very aggressive type of hunting strategies. And aggressive is, we're not just busting right into the bedding area and ruining that entire spot, but we are trying to get as close as we can to where they're bedding, so that we have an opportunity to see those mature bucks in the daylight within shooting hours. So this year is our first season, for 2019 season is going to be our first season really doing the aggressive searching for buck bedding, getting in the beast style, as it's called, if you will. But I would encourage you, if you are struggling to see the mature bucks, get in there, watch Dan Infault's videos, look at the Hunting Public. Those guys are great. A lot of fun to watch them, and just incorporate some of it. So hopefully this works out for me this season. I can tell you I've found a lot of signs so far, and I'm seeing a lot of opportunity that I'm excited for this season. So my brother and I got some equipment this year as far as just like camera arms, things like that. We're actually going to try to film our hunts. Last year we used our GoPros and stuff like that, and we got my son and my brother's son on camera getting the very first deer, and they both got bucks, and that was a lot of fun. But again, we hunt all state land for the most part. So we have a friend of ours who allows us to hunt his private land, but he's got kids and family as well, and I don't want to encroach and ruin their hunts either. So we kind of been sticking with the state land for now, and plus I bought a cottage, so trying to utilize it more than just a summer place. And so we come up and use it a lot in the fall. So hopefully you subscribe and follow along. We're just a couple average guys, and didn't grow up hunting, but got into it really as our early young adults, young, like older teenagers, young 20s, and fell in love with it, and here we are. All right, so I've been following this run. It goes all the way around this little marsh, and there's bedding along the perimeter. I found 2 different beds so far, areas that look like there could be other beds, but pretty well underwater right now. And again, this water may not be quite as high come fall. The melt off is just now happening, so there's quite a bit of snow and ice out here, but right here is what looks to be a bed, and this is what I'm looking for as far as when I say buck bedding. So there's a rub right within the bed, so this probably is a little bit higher, less wet. A rub right there when they're sitting down, and they got this protection behind them. Over here is a nice little high ground. Just walking slow, so just in case there's a hole in this, I don't fall completely through. So again, right here, you can just tell right where this has been bedded down. It's all matted. It's higher than all this other wet stuff. Here's an old rub right in there on the ground again. And this is really set up for any wind direction. They got protection all behind them, so depending on which way the wind's coming, will determine where they're going to bed. So right here's another nice little rub within the bed. So this is what you're looking for to help determine if it's buck bedding versus doe bedding. Well, this is really good. And so what this is, there is a smaller little marsh there. Then this is like a transition line. And so this little strip of woods connects right here, and it splits from this other larger little bog here. So I followed a little run into this very thick brush of some sort. It's very, very thick, and there's defined trails that are throughout it that make it easy to walk through. But if there weren't these trails that the deer were making, you would just be a completely tangled mess. But here's this one run I'm following. You can tell it leads right in to underneath this tree. And so when you start getting closer, you can clearly see the bed that the deer is laying in. And the way that they would use this is they would come from that direction with the wind in their face, and they would come and have this tree at their back, and they'd be watching their back trail and have that wind blowing over their back, smelling for danger coming behind them. Plus they would hear it within here too, coming through. But this is a great little bed. And again, you can just see where it's all been matted down. Multiple exit trails, but this is what we're looking for, is some bedding like this. So this deer would be bedded right underneath this tree. Here's a rub right near the bed. Not in it, but right near it. So he stands up, he starts moving around, just gives a little rub, and I'm assuming they can browse on all this stuff in here and eat. So they really don't have to leave this until the cover of dark. So you kind of got to get close enough to where you can catch them moving during that last hour, half hour of light. So we're back out to this little deer nest. There's tons of beds in here. A couple for sure are buck beds. And I'm back out here because I want to cross this creek. So I'm wearing my hip waders. Not even waders, but hip boots. And carrying my regular boots. Some bedding here. Bed here. This bed's back there. Here's a rub. This is just on the other side of that creek. I can see beds throughout this entire area right now. So we're back in this bedding area, and there's literally beds everywhere back here. So, but there's a couple where got a rub here, then we got a defined trail coming right into here. So my assumption is that this is not always wet like this, but you got a nice rub right here. You can see it's all been bedded and pushed down. That run goes right through there too. So it's a good area back here. I mean, can't even tell you how many beds there are. I suspect there's doe back here too, not just bucks. There's just tons of cover. Some deer scat here. Like I said, there's a lot of water back here right now from all the melting. But got another rub right here. And this follows that same trail that led to that other bed. So right here's a rub. There's another rub over there that I saw as well, but I'm going to continue to follow this run. I'm seeing trail, I'm seeing rubs. Might continue through. Let's see it on the other side. Alright, I am heading home. Had a weekend of scouting up here and pretty much done. There was only one spot that I didn't get to go that I had mapped out that I wanted to, but there was a gentleman who was just walking in to do some coyote hunting, and it was right around the same area that I was planning to go in and scout. On the map it looked really good. It was a transition line where the hardwoods met up with, you had like a bunch of oaks and stuff. They met up and butted up to like a really thick row of pines, and then the pines kind of jotted out into the marsh and the cattails. So to me, I was thinking with all those different habitats coming together, that might be a really good transition area where you can see some deer movement. So the good thing is the guy that was coyote hunting, the reason he was coyote hunting there, he said a couple of years ago he took a really big buck out of there, and as soon as they shot it and actually were dragging it up, they had coyotes coming in to the blood and whatnot. So he said the coyotes are crazy, and he was going to go coyote hunting because of his success with deer hunting, and the coyotes are coming in. So that's promising. But other than that, I've scouted two other weekends in a couple different marshes and woods, and we found 46 different buck beds that I've marked, and really there's, like, today's finds, I only marked a couple because they were such the areas that I found had such a cluster of beds that they were so close together in certain areas that it would have looked like one giant blob on the map of markers if I marked each individual one. So really 46 is much more than that. There's more than 46. So it was a good weekend, and I am excited and ready for the 2019 bow season to start.